with a sermon series with the best life ever and Jesus being the best leader and having people in our lives that influence us. Now, I kind of share the story about how I saw that you were different in how you influenced me, but I've got a question for you. The question is, what about you, maybe when you were a kid, a little bit older? Who was the most influential person, I guess you would say, in your life?
When I was your age, I played sports, but the most influential person in my life, believe it or not, was my pastor. My pastor took me under his wing and made me feel like I was his own son, and I enjoyed being around him. And I think that was so critical for me at a young age. That was very impressionable as a middle school student. That I had somebody that was affiliated with the church. I didn't know a lot about it, but he loved me, and that meant so much to me. He took me with him on trips. Like down to Roanoke. I lived in Blacksburg, and he took me on trips. So he made me feel like I was his very own.
So did you graduate from Blacksburg High School?
Yes, I did.
So I didn't.
Yes, I did.
Well, I never knew that about you till right now, because Blacksburg, some of y'all may know this, is one of our key rivals, and I guess it still is. You're being in Montgomery County. Well, I never knew that about you.
Yes, sir.
So that's a great story, and a lot of pastors, a lot of Sunday school teachers, a lot of different people have influenced us, and for you, that's just kind of a life changer. But then, I think you went to school at Emory.
Right.
Emory.
Right.
So you went through school, and then you've been in the school system now, teaching and coaching for 30 years. Now, we know in the school system, a lot of times you can't come right out and say, I'm a Christ follower, I'm a Christian, here's my Bible. I know sometimes your hands are tied on that, but I've got a pretty good feeling that you find ways to still convey to the kids you're working with, whether it be the kids in your classroom, the kids out here on the football field, and share with them, maybe in deed, maybe in your actions, about your following and your love for God. So what are some things that you do to kind of influence kids for the good when it comes to following Christ?
Well, I've thought about that, and I really think in our day and time, as busy as everybody is and as fast-paced of life is, one of the things that God has impressed on my life all throughout my teaching career is that kids need somebody that will listen to them. And again, just like my pastor made me feel very special. I know it's hard to believe this, but you try to look at each individual child that comes across your face as somebody that God's put in your way, and no matter how silly their story may be or how insignificant their problem might be, it's a significant problem to them. And I really think that I have tried over the years to however busy I am, to take a minute and listen to whatever that student is needing at that time. Said with me, I hope that people know that there's something different about me because I care for them. And I just believe that that's what God wants me to do, is to let those kids know that I genuinely care for them and for their life. And if I can give them any kind of hope, any kind of help, guidance, I want to do that. And certainly, as you said, I can't share the gospel of Christ in the way that many of us would say, like in a track or whatever. But I think that they see the love of Christ hopefully through me, and I can tell you it's not me, it's God working through me.
And I think that's part of being a leader and influencing people, is that a lot of times you don't have to say a word, it's just the presence, and you can tell. Like I said before, you can tell that they're just different. Here's probably the hardest question I want to ask you as we wrap up. Christian leadership in general, can you narrow it down to one of the most important things that a Christian leader needs to have in his or her life that you think, as far as influencing others?
Well, I tell you, I thought about this, and the thing that God continued to say to me was, I believe that in our society we need people that are humble. And I kept thinking about that, and I said, maybe there's something else. But Beaver, I believe that humility is, in the way that God talks about humility in the Bible, is very important. It's not only important for people in general, but I believe it's important for Christian leaders, because so many people feel like that you got to be out there in front. You've got to in our society, we got to step on people that feel like that we're leaders, or we got to suppress people, or we got to puff our chest out. And I just believe that God wants people that are humble, and the humility starts with in knowing where your position is with God. And I just believe that one of the greatest examples of leadership with my coaching, I have seen great Christian coaches, people like Tony Dungy. I've actually been able to go to FCA coaches camp, and I've seen a man that people respect greatly, but he is a humble man. He's a man that would truly give you the shirt off his back. Even though he is in a position of leadership, he knows where his relationship is with God, and so therefore everything he does is done in humility. And I just feel like that a great Christian leader, if he truly is a Christ-like person, you're going to see humility. You're going to see a man that may be big in stature in a lot of people's eyes, but he knows where his relationship is, and he knows where he is with Christ. And all of us are at the foot of the cross when it comes to where we are, whether we're a leader or a follower. We're all underneath Christ trying to follow his example.
And here's the really neat part about this is that without you even knowing what we're about to study, we're ready right now to go into the scriptures, and we're going to talk about Jesus as being the greatest leader, and we'll be looking at a story where Jesus showed his leadership and influenced people by humbling himself in front of these people. So I appreciate you doing that and setting it up for the sermon today, and thanks for sharing with us.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you, Beaver. Appreciate it.